Is there a kind of synthetic nature to the market? Are you worried that the Chinese government has created a sort of synthetic economic environment just to say, look, we're back on our feet, we're getting going again? Or do you think this whole infrastructure play is for real and it is sustaining?
It is for real. It is boosting demand now. It is, again, the nice thing with infrastructure spend is it goes into, tangible things. The tricky part is that, you're obviously pulling spending from the future to spend more now. But again, what the Chinese government, really wants to do is ensure there's continued job growth, continued economic growth. So, the risk here is more to the upside than the downside, because they're going to continue to prime the pump to make sure that the economy is headed in the right direction and is very well entrenched, in terms of heading in the right direction. So it's real.
Okay, so that's on the infrastructure side, because you're going to be able to see what they're building, roads, houses, buildings, etc. Power lines. With regards to, we did talk a few weeks ago about the West is also going to have to react, okay, because China is making the things which the West traditionally consumes at a vociferous rate. Are there any signs that is or is not happening?
Yeah, no, I think the numbers, it's still a little too early to see whether that's coming through yet. I think it'll be another month or two. Anecdotally, when you're hearing, that a lot of the non-stainless sectors in the West, which is where most of the nickel in the West outside of China goes. And so, those are good. As we talked before, aerospace, oil and gas aren't going to come back anytime soon. Again, I think the sector that is encouraging in the West is the EV sector. You are seeing more and more countries provide, subsidies and incentives for people to buy electric vehicles now. And again, I don't expect that to slow down. That's one of the levers that Western governments have to try and stimulate their economies, because cars are big ticket purchases, right? So if you want to get your economic numbers moving in the right direction, it's those big ticket purchases that you want to try and incent to happen.
But there's a couple of points here again, because I think it's too early to tell how people are going to react. Because if I look at targeted unemployment rates, here, there in the UK, and possibly in certain countries around Europe, where the governments have stepped in and they've done these kind of furlough type schemes. I think Europe has been quite good at it. North America, a little bit less so in terms of the money's offered. So, but that falls away in October.
Yeah.
Purchasing behavior at that point will be interesting, because over here, at least, it's forecast that jobs will see unemployment will see a huge increase at that point. Okay, and that's going to affect people's buying behavior. So It's one thing to say, I don't think that the governments or automotive manufacturers will stop incentivizing consumers. It's another to go, I know how people will behave at that point, say October, before the end of this year, in terms of car purchases. Again, if you've got any data which says, the EV purchases are on the up,
I think in some of the key markets where they've already been established, we are seeing pretty strong growth in a number of those markets. I will get some more exact numbers for you next week. But I think, that is a massive risk. In Canada, we have the same thing. We're moving from a fairly generous, monthly stipend that was in place as an emergency bridge. And the government's assured everybody we're going to transition from this to our regular unemployment insurance programs, and there won't be any disruption at all, which will not be the case. We'll have to see that plays out, because there's a segment of the market that's got far less money than they did before, and that's a segment of the market that spent everything they earned, because that was was necessary. So again, I think if that part of the economy that those people really do stumble, I think the government's going to have to prime the pump at that end of the market again. I think the lesson of Japan, the lesson in that governments have realized it's you need to print money to help get the economy moving, because if it starts on a downward spiral, it can go to a very bad place. So Again, I think they will err on the upside there. Again, for the gold bugs, that'll be, they've always said that was going to happen. They knew the virus was coming, so they knew there was going to be lots of money printed. That I think they'll find a way to do it. It might take another 1 or 2 quarters if need be, but I think they will err on getting the global economy growing as soon as possible.